Hey there, welcome to another podcast episode. This time again with Boris and Mike after you listened to our first episode with guests, hopefully last week. If not, go back and do that first because Mike is going to give us a little postmortem of all the things that went really well and the two or three things that didn't, right, Mike?
Well, two or three is optimistic, but like all great things, you learn more by failing than succeeding. So our first podcast went really well. The guest was lovely, but we definitely had some quick takeaways of like, wow, we could have definitely done a number of things better. So we want to pass this on to you guys in case you're looking to run your own podcast, just to say, hey, I'm going to learn from these guys. Okay, so let's start off. So with the quiz makers, we're doing this both as an audio podcast and as a video podcast. And I forgot that. So in our discussion, I made I was talking about something I was wearing, like, oh, and as you can see, and I pointed to something I was wearing, forgetting that, oh wait, this is also going out on pure audio. So our lucky listeners who are listening to an audio won't be able to catch that. So always think is that if you're doing on both, which we do recommend because frankly, why not? Second, this is totally obvious, but also easy to kind of forget in your busy day, but test the audio, test your whole setup, have a friend be a dummy guest and say, hey, Bob, just be a guest, make sure you can hear me, I can hear you, and the audio is recorded properly on your setup. Because nothing is more embarrassing. Thankfully, we didn't have to do this. But to go back to your busy guest and say, yeah, sorry, could we borrow another half hour of your time for a podcast?
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be bad. You know, the audio was challenging and still remains to be challenging. I guess it makes a huge difference if you're quarantined because of Corona, which we still are. You know, we're still all working from home, where there may be too much echo. You may be in a room that's too big, too noisy, versus an office that's soundproof. So we still spend a lot of time. We're using Adobe Audition right now to filter out all the strange noises and get our audio in shape. It's a lot of work. Even for just 10 minutes of podcast, it's probably half an hour of work.
Yeah.
And it's still terrible. I hope not.
Well, it's interesting because we're approaching this like a classic startup, basically saying, hey, we're just getting going. Let's test it out. Let's see what people think, if there's an audience for this. So we're not spending hundreds of euros or dollars or pounds on the best microphones, the studio level equipment. We're saying, you know what, let's just test it out. So there's give and take and there's compromises. And the audio quality is one of them.
And then obviously there's the guests, right? Even if we spend money on high-end audio, we can't ship a blue micro to everyone that appears in our podcast. But we've learned from our first guest, right? So Mike, what was your big takeaway from how to invite guests?
Well, so I'm actually shamelessly copying or being inspired by a podcast I was a guest on. And they did something really smart. They sent a lovely checklist for someone who's never been on a podcast. Here are the 6 or 7 steps you need to follow. Quiet room, things like that. So that's something I definitely will do in the future because our first guest, I didn't prep her at all. And so naturally, she had her iPhone in a vertical position, which works, but it leaves a lot of black space because YouTube and everything else is in a landscape format. So for audio, not critical, but if you're doing the video and audio, that's something. One other tip is she was just on speakerphone. And I would say, oh, hey, next time, even just use the headphones that come with your smartphone because that just cuts out a lot of the echo and just makes everything a bit better.
Right. So how do people react when you invite them to a Quizmaker podcast? Do you have to convince them or are they excited, enthusiastic about coming on?
Yeah, bribery, shameless plugs saying, I'll buy you beers. No, actually, it was really easy. It was delightfully easy because, Boris, you and I, we went through our, as part of Riddle, we are all big customer support geeks. So we are actually in one-on-one contact with a lot of our customers frequently. So we came up with a list of people like, hey, these guys are doing great things with quizzes. I asked 10 saying, hey, we like what you're doing. Would you like to be a guest on the podcast? Explain. I was hoping for 2 or 3. And I think we got about 6 or 7 out of 10. Which is great. And they're all very enthusiastic. People are like, oh, that's great. That sounds like a lot of fun. How do I do it? So.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. And if you're thinking about starting a podcast, don't think about, how many thousands of listeners you're going to get. At least if you're doing it as a business, to run a podcast, as a side business. We're not making money from the podcast, but you can use it to talk to your customers and get to know them better, right?
Absolutely. And actually, one of the things I always like to ask in our episodes, and you'll hear more as we do more episodes, is how is marketing changing and what predictions will you have for marketing going forward? But then I also like to ask, hey, you're using Riddle. What can we do better? And maybe that sometimes does not make it onto the podcast, but customers love hearing, and giving feedback on what we could do better. So it's both a podcast, but also a great chance to get to know our customers better.
That sounds like a good plan. So we'll follow up on that. And the next episode, we'll have another guest, right?
Yes, got a whole slew of guests lined up. Very excited.
Okay. Well, we promised we'd keep this under 15 minutes. So I think it's time to wrap it up.
Perfect.
Perfect. Well, thanks for checking in, everybody. And we'll talk to you next week. And you hear Mike talking to another guest. All right. See you then.
Cheers. See you, Boris.